Okie dokie, you beautiful people. So we just finished up Actors for Improv 2. This is week number 5. This is absolutely crazy because we have 2 more weeks to go. And here at the end of this video, I'll talk about if I'm going to continue, if I'm going to join conservatory because auditions are happening now, or if I pursue something else that I had in mind in terms of other acting classes. But I think this class kind of set the tone for me in terms of what we did, but you'll have to excuse me because after traveling 5 hours, taking a 3-hour improv class, doing accents and pushing and stretching myself as an actor, as an improviser during scenes, it takes a lot out of you. It's fun, and I've said this time and time again, where 3 hours truly just feels like 45 minutes when you're up doing a scene, especially since you're physical. You get to move around, and if it's something that you're passionate about, I mean, the cliche line of time flies when you're having fun, it rings so true. But this is actor's notes. This is just simply the notes that I take in class, which, little caveat, I haven't taken these notes in class because every instructor that you might take here, if it's at the Second City or other improv classes, whoever's instructing it, you might have more time to talk during the session, and you get to write down notes, or maybe your instructor just wants you to do games the whole time. Like my instructor for Improv for Actors 2, it was different for my first class, Improv 1, and Improv for Actors 1. These are all different classes that the Second City offers, and this, all this to say, whether it's here at the Second City or locally where you are from, your local improv class or a session or a coach, everyone and everything is going to be different. But going back to my notes, these are just the thoughts. These are the questions. This is just a reflection on what happened in class. How can I improve? And I've taken Improv 1, which lasts 8 weeks, Improv for Actors 1 for 7 weeks, and then Improv for Actors 2, which lasts another 7 weeks. So in total, roughly around 15 weeks of taking, or how many? 15 classes. Each class is 3 hours. You do the math. So I've improvised, I've made mistakes, I've laughed many, countless times. And I still feel, and this is the biggest thing that I wrote down, that something that we went through today, I felt like I just didn't progress. I feel like I didn't do much today. And this kind of goes to acting classes. This goes to anyone who's been taking a certain class or have been in the same routine and experiences that sameness, that dullness, because in improv class, I want to learn new things. I want to understand, okay, why do you say, what's the point of this exercise? We played a very hard game, and it was essentially, you take 4 people, or you can take 3 or 2, and you improvise a scene, but you do it backwards, right? Instead of the beginning, you establish who you are, where you are, what you're doing. It's already been done, all right? It's already in the atmosphere, but you begin the scene with the end. So the instructor will write down one note, and then we'll write down another note, and these are sentences that you say. So one person will say the last line. I believe mine was, I hate you people, and I'm getting out of here. And then you have to do the entire scene backwards. Like, okay, what made you say that? Someone has to justify it by saying something to make you say, I hate you people, I'm getting out of here. And then someone has to justify that, and then justify that. And you just work this scene backwards, and you actually have to do physicality backwards. It was such a mind boggle. It was such a fun time because it was funny to see people struggle, but it was just enjoyable to do. And during that scene, I was thinking, okay, what's the whole point of this? And this kind of goes back to when you blank, when you don't know what to say. I've been doing this for, like I said, 15 weeks. So 15 improv classes, 3 hours long. And I still go to this weird part of my brain where I think, do I know what I'm doing? I mean, this isn't new information. What's the point of the scene? How can I learn something that I haven't learned before? Which is a great attitude to have. But this goes to my main point, how progress isn't linear. And these past classes have been like this, where it's just been games. We've just been playing long form improv games, and like I said, every single class is going to be different for you guys. So my class at the end of the 7 weeks has a show at the end. So these last maybe the rest of this class, maybe next week and the week after, and we're done. It's just going to be about figuring out what games we want to play for the show and really honing that skill. We've played games like La Ronde, Scene Tag. There's a thing called freeze tag, 3-line scenes, Foursquare, and it could be long form improv or short form, maybe musical. I hope we don't decide that, but I have some musical improvisers in my class. So if they say that, I'm gonna be like, no, I don't want to. Let's not. How about we don't? And going back to my note about how progress isn't linear is something that I just kind of needed to reflect on, and it was nice to write down. And you might be going through this too, where you've taken an improv class and you felt like I have learned the same thing I did a week ago or the week before that, or I've already learned this before. And the whole point of how progress isn't linear is something to change your perspective on, where sometimes it's not about learning something new. Sometimes it's just about getting that repetition in. And I think about this like the gym. There's, if you couldn't tell, but there have been times where I just don't want to go to the gym. There are times where I wake up and I have a morning workout that I have to do because maybe my schedule just only allows the morning to do it. But you wake up, you feel groggy, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. Or maybe it's midday at night, you're tired, it's after work, you just don't want to do it. But still showing up, getting those reps in, and even if it's light to moderate weight that you're pushing around, even if you're just not feeling it and you just really want to go home, maybe you cut the workout short, it's still getting that rep in, it's still adding something in the back of your mind saying, regardless of how I feel, I show up for myself. Whether that's in the gym, whether that's an improviser showing up to class, or actors showing up to acting class, and you feel like this is redundant, I didn't learn anything new. It's the repetition that matters the most, and that's what pushes you to believe in yourself. To believe in yourself saying, I've showed up every single week, every single acting class, I've showed up regardless of how I felt, and that's what a professional actor would do. I feel like this is a gift, but low-key a curse. How do you say it? It's like a gift in disguise, or what do people say when they say when something bad happens and you're like, maybe it's a gift in disguise. I feel like this is that one of those moments, because I'm super tired, by the way. Like I said, traveling 5 hours, 3-hour improv class, and I was late, by the way. I'm such a Filipino because I was late by like half an hour. And I was just rushed. My heart was beating. I took caffeine. That was probably not a good idea, but I was tired. And, my case is much different than everyone else's. But when I say that this gift is, a hidden gift or whatever, is just feeling tired, feeling like you have nothing to say, nothing to offer, because this has happened many times before in classes. The 15 other times I've done improv scenes where I feel, and this is so unique, I don't know if other people feel this way, but there'll be moments where I think, what does an improviser do right now? And I've already taken so many classes. I think, what do I need to be doing right now? Or how do I even improvise? And it's funny because I'm just like, yeah, I learned how to do I learned and practiced yes and, don't ask questions, establish who you are, where you are, what you're doing. But when you're live in a scene, when you're doing a scene just in real time, it's like, I don't have time to think about all those different things. But that might be a good thing, not thinking. That's one thing that, like I said, is a hidden gift. Because if you start to get in your own head, if you start to have preconceived ideas on how to, I should say a joke here, what's a funny joke if they ever say this, stuff like that. If it's in your head, you're not in your scene. You're not being present. And a skill that you practice, and like I said, get that repetition in, regardless if it's not learning something new, you get the repetition of active listening, of listening to your scene partner. And not just listening with your eyes, listen physically. What does their physicality tell you? What does their body language tell you? Try to communicate with them on your body language, how you feel about them. See their facial expressions. How do you feel about that? What did they say and what did they not say? And then answer or comment on what they didn't say. As in, if they say, "I love you," I mean, they could smile and they could be like, "Oh, he loves me," or you could be like, "I love you." Like, why did he say it so serious? What did he not say? And then you can address that. There's so much that goes into listening that I feel like we do in our that we ignore in our everyday lives. And just going back to this, me feeling tired, me not knowing what to say, me not having anything to think about. The one thing I always just it was like my cushion, my plan B. I guess that's what people say was what is just listen, just listen. If you're gonna fall back on anything, it's just the power to actively listen on what's happening right now, because there'll be moments I'll zone out because I'm so tired, or there'll be those weird, unique moments, like I said, where I'm just in a scene, in a game scene of either scene tag or the Ronde or Foursquare or three line scenes, and I'm just like, I forgot what does an improviser do right now? Because you're on the spot. Sometimes you're just so nervous and anxious, or maybe you're excited and you just get lost in your own excitement that you forget to actually play the game and support your fellow improviser and try to remember all these different things. Just listen. That was the biggest thing. I was just listening. Okay, what did you say? How do I feel about that? And then I express my thoughts. And that's the beauty of it. You get to say anything, no matter how left field or bizarre it is, because they have to justify it the same way you have to justify it. So I knew how to say yes. Don't say no. But we learn the rules in order to break them. And so there's one thing you can always fall back on. It's just to listen, accept, and add on. After saying how I'm so just tired and leaning back on just listening in class and feeling, 15 weeks in, and you may feel the same after so many years of either improvising or acting, you're like, you'll have that little voice in the back of your head saying, do you know what you're doing? Do you actually know what you're doing? This is totally different. You haven't done a game like this before, an improvised game. You haven't done a scene or a commercial or a booking like this before. You haven't been in this situation before. Can you handle yourself? And to just remind yourself about the past experience that you've had as an actor, as an improviser, as a human being. If you don't even have experience, maybe you're just someone looking in to get into the TV and film industry or theater, or just as a performer, whether that's improv or acting, trusting your life experience. This is something that I think is such a powerful tool that not many people realize they have when it comes to the psychology part of acting. Why do we do what we do? Why do we say what we say? What's not being said? Matthew McConaughey says, and so many A-list actors and celebrities say this too. He says, what does it take to be a good, I believe it was Cillian Murphy. He said, what does it take to be a good actor? And he said, just go live some life, go experience some life. And this is something that anyone can do and reflect on their life experiences and the hardships and the successes and the triumphs and just the rock bottoms that you've been through. And you know yourself so well to know, I've been here. So what in the world could compare to this rock bottom or this peak moment that could sway me? I don't care if I haven't done something like this booking before or done a improv game like this before. I'm out of my element. No, I've experienced so much life that I can handle this. And as an actor, maybe you've booked much work, or just a few. That is experience in your tool belt to always pull back and shut that little voice in the back of your head saying, I can handle this. And to my last point is just about not being too hard on yourself. This is something that I'm still struggling with. I've seen amazing performers since Improv 1, which is my first ever improv class. And that's where people who have never done improv, people who are either, say, CEOs or people who are trying to implement more improv into their workplace. This just comes with all types of all walks of life. And I've seen amazing performances from them, and I've seen amazing performances from Improv for Actors 1, where this is legit, and say Conservatory, where it gets more legit in terms of professionalism. And there will be times where these professional actors, or just these average Joes trying improv for the first time, they'll always say, at no matter what level you are, like, oh gosh, while I was doing that scene, I didn't feel like I was giving enough information or giving enough gifts. I felt like I was saying too much or anything. But from the audience perspective, it's like, whoa, you did an amazing scene. So no matter at what level, everyone has this they're just being too hard on themselves sometimes, because you have a certain level that you want to reach as an actor, as an improviser, as a human being, and it's like a hedonic treadmill. You're always reaching for the next goalpost, but you've never seen how far you've gone. And so yeah, I know it's cliche, but don't be too hard on yourself. That's where comparison comes in. We're all on our own journeys, and going back to just showing up to class, even if it's something that's dull to you and it's something that you've already done in the past, something that you've already learned, just showing up in that repetition, just showing up for yourself. That's what matters the most. That will help with that comparison game, because we all do it. Now for my outro. In case no one has told you yet today, I love you. You matter. You have value. And let me say something I haven't said before, which I haven't before in this week 5, and we have 2 more weeks to go before we finish, is, am I going to continue? I'm not. Oh shit. I'm not. No. I definitely wanted to pursue improv and see what it could bring. And I mean, it's taught me a lot about acting. It's taught me a lot about acting. But what's next for me is, because I want to do more action-based and comedic-based TV and film, I want to do my own stunts. And so I'll be looking into stunt training. And I don't know if that consists of parkour gyms at my locally, so I don't have to travel 5 hours. But I will say that the classes, the people, the instructors that I've met here at the Second City, wow, just the things that you learn. I learned how to listen. Can you believe that? I learned how to listen. And so I'm very proud of how far I've come. And this is all just to put on the resume, to grow and to collaborate. So I know I'll be open-minded. Maybe I might come back. Maybe, who knows? I might be part of an ensemble. But right now, I just wanted to put improv in my tool belt. Somebody's just screaming, which you'll hear often in improv classes. But yeah, I know I'm not going to continue with here. I'm open-minded to know I might come back. But next up is stunt training. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I love you.